Hey, welcome to the conversation that's as diverse as the dogs that we adore. This is Gundogs and Guard Dogs, ultimate podcast dedicated to talking sense about dogs with Les Graham and Ross McCarthy. They work with all breeds of dog, but one specialises in Gundogs and the other prefers Guard Dogs. No flashy trends or social media hype here, just tried and true knowledge that stands the test of time. They bring you valuable insights and honest conversations about the social predator you share your home with. So here we go. About 45 minutes of gun dogs, guard dogs, good dogs, some maybe not so good dogs, and a dash of gossip.
Dog Graham, here again.
Gundog Graham, how funny. We are indeed. I nearly called my dog training that. Great. Well, I didn't. I nearly called it Graham's Gundogs rather than the Pet Gundog.
Oh, did you?
Just as well I didn't really, isn't it?
Yeah. That'd be who's Graham.
I know. I know. How you doing, Mr. McCarthy?
I'm all right, thank you very much. Yep, sun is shining here in London. Looks like it is in Bonnie, Scotland too.
-9 this morning.
Wow, -4 here this morning, actually. It's up to 1 degree now.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was -9. I took the dogs to the kennels this morning and it was -9. And at the minute it's -3.
It's up to kennels.
The forecast snow tomorrow.
Have you not got it already?
It's too cold for snow at the minute.
Oh, that's what people say, isn't it?
I think it's too cold for snow. Might be wrong, but I think it's too cold for snow.
Yeah, that's a funny old saying. I don't get it, how it can be too cold for snow, but there we are.
Oh, can you could tell me? It's something to do with the water and the air. I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah,
There's snow on the borders, isn't there? Kelso or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's snow on Tinto. So Tinto is like over there, which is the big hill that we can see from the house. And the snow on the top of Tinto.
Not too cold for Tinto snow then?
No. I think that's old snow. I think that's snow from the other day. It's just not defrosted.
No, it wouldn't, would it? Have your dogs gone to kennels?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because well, it's really good. She's brilliant, actually. She's a Gundog person and she does home boarding and she's got 2 kennels in the garage as well, heated and fantastic. So they're in the kennel. I said I wanted them. So they've stayed there before, and because tomorrow I'm going to a spa day.
Wow.
I know. And then on Saturday we are off to see Swan Lake at the Edinburgh Playhouse.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'm gonna have a day out in Edinburgh, do a bit of shopping, go for lunch, go to the ballet in the afternoon, take my time getting home.
Oh, posh.
And I thought, yeah, because originally we weren't going to go shopping. I thought, I'll wear a nice skirt and a pair of tights, but if it's going to be like -8, I'll be in my jeans, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, you need your extra thick hoodie, don't you, for that?
I know.
Yeah,
so,
no glamour.
No, forget the glamour. Let's go for warmth, I think. But it might come up. I mean, it looks like it's going to be warmer. I'll see if it's not too cold, then I might go in a skirt, but otherwise I'll be in my jeans. But yeah, ever since I saw Billy Elliot, I wanted to go and see Swan Lake.
Wow, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, especially after your spa day.
Especially after my spa day, I know, it'd be lovely. It's a bit of self-care, really.
Nice. Is that to celebrate finishing your book?
Thank you. Yes.
The end of those 5 a.m. starts.
End of the 5 a.m. starts, yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm not getting up now to like 6:15. Shocking.
Ooh. Well, blimey. Virtually lunchtime.
I know. 1st of March is when it'll be released.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting then.
Very exciting.
Not long now, is it? 5 or 6 weeks?
5 or 6 weeks, yeah. Yeah, not long at all.
No, so you're launching ready for Crufts?
Launching for Crufts, yeah.
That's good. Getting all excited about Crufts already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've ordered, well, I'm having trouble ordering the plug.
Huh?
Ordering the plug for the stand.
Why?
It was exactly the same last year because you have a lot of documents to fill in, your health and safety documents, and
Oh,
loads of stuff to do.
yeah.
And you have to do like this voyage control for your vehicles and all sorts of stuff. And the plug thing is with GES Electrical, and where it's asked for your county, on the form, and you cannot populate that thing, and it won't let you move on to the next thing until you put your county in, but you can't put your county in.
Oh,
So last year I had to phone them, so I've got to phone them again and sort the plug out.
I think they do the electrics to the game fair as well.
Yeah, they do a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Jane sorted it out for us. She's brilliant. Jane Rash is awesome. She just did all the paperwork.
No, that's good. You have to draw like a diagram of where you want the plug and all sorts of stuff. It's very involved.
I mean, it's good because we're outdoors and it's sunny. We're not going for any electrics this year.
What did you have electrics for?
Not extras. We're going to have just like the standard electrics rather than extras and extra plugs and stuff. The sum up machine.
Yeah.
We had a telly playing Gundog training videos. We're not having that this year because it was a waste of time, I think. So that's not going, and we didn't. It's so sunny, we don't need the extra lighting in the tent either. So we're not having that either.
No, that's cool. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of
Was
work.
everything else organised for Crufts and Ross? Have you got organised? Have you got your stand built pretty much?
Yeah, all good to go. Actually, I've had new leaflets and stuff, I think last year or the year before. So yeah, all good to go. Just got to load the lorry and get there. But it was snowing last year when we were driving up.
God.
So let's hope that's not doing that again. No, we had quite a bit of snow there actually. One morning walking down was quite treacherous. You saw all these poor people with these great big dogs, you know what I mean, and these cages and stuff that they pull, all slipping and sliding around.
That's awful.
Yeah, but hopefully no snow this year.
Yeah, hopefully. We wait and see what's going to happen up here with the snow. It's absolutely beautiful out there. It's stunning blue skies.
It makes a massive difference when the sun shines. It's really nice here today. Yesterday I went to see a client, and it was like an hour drive, and it was such a grey, cold day. Do you know what I mean? When you get in and out of the car and it's so cold and gloomy.
The damp gets in your bones, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And when you get in the car, because trouble is, because I have the heating on and like in the car, like massive, like a sauna. So when you get out, it's even worse.
It is.
Yeah, but hey ho, soon be summer, won't it?
So you keep telling me.
Telling myself.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long. I don't think it'll be long coming. Hopefully.
No, hopefully not. I listen
as long as it keeps cold, but we'll have these lovely blue skies. I'm happy with that.
I like the cold because actually you've got nice clean dogs, don't you? You can go for a walk. The ground is hard, and the dogs love it, rolling about in the what do you call it? Frost, yeah. And seem to love that. And it's nice that you don't have all wet dogs and dirty mud to sort out when you get home, isn't it?
Wet towels.
Yeah, all of that thing. My car's disgusting, actually. My car is filthy.
Is it?
Yeah. Horrible. I dread anybody saying, "Can I have a lift?"
One of my friends, her car is always pristine, like immaculate.
Yeah.
And I got in the other week and she says, "Oh, excuse the mess." And I kind of looked around and went, "What mess?" What mess? Yeah, I think it was like a footprint, and that was it.
Oh, God.
It's fine if anybody comes in. I'm chucking all carrier bags in the back, the shopping bags, and chucking dog training equipment to one side and picking rubbish off the floor, and yeah.
No, it's horrible. I've got a bloke that comes around to clean it. Like comes to the house and stuff, takes the cages out, puts all the seats up, cleans it nicely. But quite often he doesn't answer my calls.
Has he stopped answering your calls?
He doesn't. Yeah, if he's got cleaner vehicles to do, then he does them instead and puts me way down the list. Yeah, I phone him or I text him and I have to do it 3 or 4 times before he replies to me.
How funny! There's the guys who do like the outdoor wash here, and
yeah,
£6. So I nip in now and again and get them to do that. But I have had a really, really nice young lad come up, and I was so embarrassed. It's like, hang on a sec, I missed some rubbish. I thought I cleaned all the rubbish out.
Oh,
And I
God.
opened the car for me. Oh, let me get this for you out your way. And he was like, no, it's part of the service. It's great. Get on with it then.
I don't know. I like having this, like Steve. I like him because I know him and he knows what the car's like, and he just gets on with it. But years ago. I went to Brent Cross. They do like this valet parking where you park your car and then you go do your shopping and come
Oh,
back
yeah,
to
yeah. I
a
remember
clean
that.
car. And when I got back, the bloke was just shaking his head at me. Horrible. Yeah, very disapproving shake of the head. So that, yeah, it was supposed to be 14 quid. I gave him 20 quid and legged it.
It's horrible when people shake their head at you, isn't it? It's like, no,
It's very, yeah, no, very disapproving. That is.
it is awful. Oh my God, I remember Brent Cross when I lived in
Still
London.
there.
There was you probably can't remember, there was an IRA bomb there when we lived in London. And I
There
was
was.
on my way to Brent Cross, and there was, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, it's bad,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was the time in London was pretty bad because we lived just off Kilburn High Road, which was like a
Oh, I forgot
hotspot.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, very, very IRA strong. Kilburn
yeah.
High Road. Mm.
Oh God, yeah, awful.
Yes. I remember the first time we saw a bin in a train station, we were like, oh my God, there's bins in the train station. How did this happen? You've got no idea what I'm on about, have you?
Why? No, because they
Well,
didn't have bins.
they removed them all because the IRA used to plant bombs in them,
Yeah, and then put them back.
and now they're back. Yeah, so when they came back, it was like, oh wow, okay, the troubles really are over now.
Yeah,
We've got bins in the train stations again.
strange, isn't it? Strange, all these things that we have to deal with and cope with, isn't it? All these
Yeah,
nightmare situations and pandemics and
I
goodness
know,
knows what else.
I know. Amazing.
And then we have to go and see bad dogs on top of all that.
I know, bad dogs. Yes, wayward dogs, not bad dogs, wayward dogs.
Wayward dogs.
A little bit, they're going a bit wayward.
Yeah. Well, some of them are pretty bad, aren't they?
Well, they're very wayward.
They're very wayward. They are. It's good fun, isn't it? Good
It is.
fun.
So have you done many consults this year? Have you done much training this year?
I've done a few consults. Yes, and I've got, yeah, the thing is, I was thinking actually years ago, I used to see a lot of clients for all sorts of different behavior problems.
Yeah.
Now, mostly it's just aggression all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you actually how things have changed. So you started, let's wind the clock back. You started like working with dogs. Um, so dog training classes. When did you start your dog training classes?
Um, I think probably 2000, 99, 2000.
Uh-huh. And because I started teaching in 2004 other people's dogs, and it's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has changed a lot actually, and I've only just sort of thought about. I mean, sort of, I suppose things change incrementally, don't they? So you don't notice it, but yeah, things have changed a lot. I think, I mean, I don't run training classes now, but we do have a lot of students that bring their dogs to workshops and things, and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, training methods have changed quite a bit, and equally, I think the dogs have changed quite a lot. Not
Remotely.
not as controlled, I don't think, to start with. I think because training, often now we have a lot more fun when we're training dogs, don't we? It wasn't. I mean, I used to go to a German Shepherd training club years ago when I was,
Check chain.
yeah, it was a check, and all the dogs, they never enjoyed it. I mean, they'd just, you do like a formal recall, and they'd wander over to you because there was no point. It was just sit there and then call them and be like, "Oh, all right." So no, it's good that things have changed, but yeah, it has another impact as well, I suppose, isn't it? That it is fun and things have changed, and there's a lot of food and toys and stuff involved, which there wasn't really before.
No, not at all.
Just have to do it.
Do you think we've thrown away the baby with the bathwater?
I think the old-fashioned training methods, and I'm not saying we should go back to those, but they definitely gave you more reliability. The dogs might not have done it with such gusto, but they knew that they had to comply, so they would.
A lot more compliant. They had to.
Yeah,
and they didn't have a choice, did they?
No, and I still see it now as some of the sort of some of the dogs that are trained for other people, like, you know, whether that's a lot of personal protection dogs or just a trained family pet and thing. Other people, and you can see the dogs that have been trained using those more compulsive methods, because they just go through the motions. They just, you know, they walk to heel because they have to. They sit and they stay because they have to. But there's not the expectation of reward.
There's no joy. Did you hear? Sorry, you froze. Did you hear that? There's no joy, is there? There's no joy in the training.
No joy. No, the dogs just go through it.
Because I can remember Hannah Spearman, who was on the first APGI program in 2017, and it was a bit of a revelation for her because she'd been like classic gun dog trainers, if you like.
Yeah.
And I got my dogs out of the car. I had Dante and Spud, and I got them out of the car, and her jaw dropped that I could have such obedient dogs and dogs that were really joyous and wagging their tail and wanting to be with me, and
yeah,
you know, they had like great fun, but they were still really steady and really obedient. And I can remember when I first come back home, Noel, who I trained with, didn't use any food at all.
Yeah, I remember that.
But we did do lots of playing, like touch playing with the dogs, you know. No toys. He thought anybody who trained with a toy was a moron.
Yeah.
Which he told me after I said I've been training with toys. Anyway, he was an amazing behaviourist, and you know, you learn how to motivate the dog through touch and movement and everything. But then when I got with D, it was, for me, it was that revelation that you can still have all of the boundaries in place when you're training. So you can have all the boundaries, you can have the discipline, you know, to do the things that you. So if you say stay, then the dog has to stay. But then you can also have the joy of play and fun and food and all of that lot. And do you think, but you only, and then phasing out the food, but still keeping the joy there. Do you think, I've got a couple of deep questions for you now. Do you think that people aren't, let's start with the trainers first, because it comes top down, doesn't it? Do you think the trainers aren't doing sufficient professional training to learn their craft so that they know how to phase out the treats, or bring the treats in but still have the discipline element so that the dogs are reliable while still having fun training? So that's one question. And then the other question is, do you I'm putting you say I got it in first. Then the other question is, do you think people are not attending training long enough to learn how to phase out treats, and so they never get beyond the point where they're training with food all of the time?
Yeah. So to answer your questions, question number one,
about the trainers.
I think there's a massive variation in trainers. There are some brilliant dog trainers that are really skilled, because it is a bit of an art form, isn't it? And they're really skilled.
People keep saying it's a science, but it's an art form.
Yeah,
it's an art. You're dealing with the living, breathing being.
And it's about motivating and about, you know, using your body and all of the little, when you watch someone training, it's all like the little nuances, but how they hold the lead, when they move the lead, where their body is, what, do you know what I mean? When they reward the dog, when they throw the ball, when they, you know, have a game of tug. Yeah, all of that stuff. When they, you know, the voice tones and everything. So there are some amazing trainers around. A lot of those are involved in dog sports because they have a passion for doing it. So some of the gun dog trainers, some of the, sports dogs, like competition sports and stuff. And there are a lot of other trainers that have done courses that don't really seem to have that passion, and they don't have the ability really to train to kind of a standard that you'd want in your pet dog. Do you know what I mean? They just muddle through, and it is always about food. And I use loads of food. We always use loads of food in training. I use loads of toys, and it's good fun and rewarding. But it can't just be. There's a difference, I think, between rewarding and kind of bribing and luring. Do you know what I mean? So yes, you can you can continue to use food as long as you want. Reward your dog for coming back to you, but it has to anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you can use your sausage or your cheese for rewarding the dog. You can use your toy, but equally, it has to anyway, whether you've got a toy or a sausage or not.
Yeah. And I think that's what people are missing. That I think it's either your dog has to come back, like full stop. Okay. And to on the Gundog forums, I get really wound up because it's like, oh, you're an idiot using food. I never use food. Your dog should come back because it has to come back. And I totally agree with that. I think, as you know, I'm like really hot on recall. The recall should be unconditional. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it has to be joyless.
No, not at all.
It is. Yes, it is unconditional. I say come, you say how fast.
Yeah.
But when you come to me, God, I'll be the cheerleader,
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, I take toys and stuff. I take tug toys and stuff out for walks sometimes, and it's good fun. We have fun. Do you know what I mean? We go out and I enjoy my walks. The dogs enjoy. Well, most of the time, apart from when you meet these idiots. But no, it's fun. It's fun. It's an interactive experience. It's me and them playing and running about, and having a nice time and using teaching little bits and practicing bits like searching and all sorts of stuff. It should be fun, shouldn't it? It should be nice.
It should.
But I think a lot of the trainers are not. Yeah, they're just not on that page, are they at all? They're not on that same page about getting kind of compliance to keep dogs safe. And there's a limit. There's kind of like a ceiling whereby if your dog makes the choice that it wants to do something else than come back to you for your cheese, then we're screwed. Do you know what I mean? Because the dog
has to be a consequence, though.
Yeah, because the dog will always, I say to people all the time, the dog will always prefer, unless it's starved, dogs will always prefer to enact their intrinsic behaviours as opposed to do something completely unnatural and come back to you when it's cool. Doesn't want to. It wants to go and chase squirrels or go and investigate other dogs or scent or whatever it wants to do. That's normal. It's not normal to come running back and give it a bit of food, is it?
No, not
so
at all.
Always prefer to be, a dog. But we can't have that in where we live because it's not safe.
Well, yeah, we try not to have it. And so do you think it's the trainers not being sufficiently skilled? Or do you think this? I know that we've completely gone off the topic that we were going to talk about, sorry, but do you think it's more down to like a cognitive bias? This is how I train. And I don't know how to train any other way. So this is it. This is all you're going to learn, rather than having lots of tools in the toolkit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of owners give up because it doesn't work. They get to a certain point and they still got these problems because what a lot of trainers often think that the general public or dog owners are like us. Like we like doing it. We like being with the dogs. We like teaching them stuff. Dog owners don't. They just want a dog that doesn't jump up at people in the street, that doesn't drag them to the park and comes back when they're cool. So when you have these people coming to your training class, they don't want to come to your agility on a Saturday morning, got no interest in dogs. They just want this dog to rub along and live with them. And they're not getting that service at a training class to walk nicely on a lead and to recall, because ultimately that pretty much is what people want. They don't need a 10-minute out of sight downstay. They'll never use that. They just need not to pull them to the park and not to be a nightmare when they get there. And that the training classes don't deliver that. They don't enforce people kind of practicing and stuff, which they should be doing in their own environment. They just do their weekly class, and so they stop going. because it don't work. So, and that's it. And it's really difficult. I would love to kind of signpost a lot of my clients to a training class, because that would be really beneficial, because there's only so much you can do in a behavior consult. You can't start teaching a load of exercises. But I haven't got anyone, I don't know, I haven't got anyone to send them to. There's like hundreds of classes, but no one to...
It's exactly. And I think, I mean, we've spoken about this a few times, where the classes are either one way or the other. They're like doing games, so that they're doing like fun things and games, but they're not working on like the foundational training.
Yeah.
Or they're going too far the other way and expecting people, as you say, to turn up in the rain to do all of these activities with the dogs, and the people lose heart and drop out.
Yeah. No, they don't want to. I mean, you might go out. I mean, for years you were on the gun dog field in the whatever weather, weren't you? Yeah. But, you know, people with their Bichon Frises, they're not going to rock up and stand in a field with you doing that. No chance.
No way. I mean, the Gundog is the Gundog folk. I think what it is, because when you're living with a high energy dog, then when you give them something that taps into their instinctive behavior, your relationship changes with them so much. And it then gives you joy, because you're giving your dog joy, and then that motivates you to do it. But as you say, I mean, I never taught regular dog training on a field. It was always another chore. Yeah,
people won't come.
People aren't interested.
No.
You know,
but they wouldn't. I don't blame them either.
No, I mean, I wouldn't. You know, I wouldn't want to stand on the field in the rain if I wasn't doing gun dog training. I would, if I was doing ordinary obedience, then yeah, give me a haul, thanks very much. Although saying that I do on a Monday afternoon, as I've said, you know, I go, but that's a competition. That's competition work.
Yeah, no,
not ordinary dog training.
No, it's not pet stuff, is it?
No.
I mean, I mean, I don't do so much training now. I'm hoping to start again, but you know, working trials training, we were outside in all weather. I mean, I remember being outside. The rain was coming like, you know, horizontal. And but we'd be out in waterproofs doing whatever, or sit in the car for 5 minutes waiting for it to stop. It's because we enjoyed it. But you know, people aren't doing that, are they?
I think there's a difference between a pet owner and an enthusiast, and I think and I don't know if it's down to social media or not, but I mean, that certainly contributed to it, because we didn't have this. I don't think we had this issue quite so much when it was still Yahoo groups. Do you remember all the old Yahoo groups?
Yeah.
Really old. But people seem to, and I don't know if it's because I'm in the, you know, the gun dog side of it or not, but if you're not competing and you're not winning in competitions, then you're not a good trainer.
Yeah.
Whereas actually there's some fantastic trainers out there who've got no want, need, desire, passion to compete.
No.
Like with me, when I did gun dogs, I did a bit of competition, but not much. My aim was to work the dogs and go out have fun on the field with the dogs. But and I think the emphasis has gone away from like really, really good trainers who are excellent at their craft and who can teach you how to have a really nice, well-mannered dog. And the emphasis is, oh my God, he's the world champion. He's this, he's got this medal, he's got that, he's competed. And they slant, or their focus is on something very different to a really, really good pet dog trainer. I think. What do you think? That was my thoughts.
Well, it's funny because the word, when people talk about pet dog trainers, it's always a bit
derogatory.
Yeah, because you're just a pet dog trainer. Whereas actually, pet dog training is a higher standard than anything else, because it's not competitive on a sports field. It's literally walking to the park and taking your dog for coffee and those things. Real life trainers. Pet dog training pet dog trainers should be at a higher standard than the competition trainers anyway, because they're training for real life eventualities, not to retrieve a dumbbell or to, you know,
find
a dummy or whatever. So you know, and all of that's good to do on top of your foundations, isn't it? But you can't do that unless you've got a nice trained pet dog.
You say that.
Well, I did say that actually, and I did say that, and
And you
yeah,
saw my eyebrows go up.
yeah, no, I said that, and it's no, as it came out of my mouth, I thought, well, that's a load of old tosh.
It is a load of old tosh.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
when you go to
Competitive obedience.
exactly competitive obedience, see it all the time. The dogs, they can be working a ticket, so they compete at crufts.
Yeah.
And then they finish, and I do competitive obedience, but the dogs finish the parading and the prancing, and which is all trick training. It's all a trick.
Yeah.
And then you put the lead on them and put them in the real world, and they're pulling the owner's arm out the shoulder.
They're mad. I know. Well, I've got a lady around the corner. She does competitive obedience. Hopefully she doesn't listen. And she's got 3 border collies. And obviously, and they're on harnesses, and they literally, I mean, she virtually runs to the park because they're just dragging to the park. It's hilarious, really. And then she goes and does the, you know, focused heel work around the ring. But it's bizarre. I mean, they're off the lead. They're really good, actually. But on the lead, I mean, it's just a nightmare.
It is, and so I do find that element funny. And I know when I lived down in Marlborough, there was like trainers down there, competitors. I won't say, you know, but there was competitors down there, and they would have lots of dogs, and they would spend most of their life in the crate.
Yeah,
get the dog out of the crate, do some competitive heel work with them or a dumbbell or whatever. Put them back in the crate. They couldn't take the dogs anywhere because the dogs are so badly behaved.
Yeah.
You know, so I think pet dog trainers, but I don't know if it's like this celebrity status or oh my God, he's amazing or she's amazing. She's won this competition, she's won that medal. It makes her a good trainer. And then they go along and they're not able to train the pets. I'm thinking back to before I wrote the Pet Gun Dog book. People would go, and the reason I wrote the Pet Gun Dog book was people would go to trainers or trialists. And I mean, we're talking 2008, 2009. So things have changed mostly. But they wouldn't know how to train a pet. So they would treat them like a kennel dog and say, put it in the crate and keep it in the indoor pen. Get it out twice a day for 20 minutes while the dogs would be driving, slowly going mad over it.
I know. It's a shame. I think the thing is, it's all very difficult, isn't it? Because there's so many different trainers. So you've got a lot now on social media. So you've got like a lot of the balance trainers, so to speak, putting out content about, you know, force-free trainers and all the rest of it, and force-free trainers putting out content about balance training. And it must be very difficult for people to navigate, you know, for, you know, pet owners to navigate where they should be going because everybody thinks everybody else is dreadful. And you have it, I mean, we've had a conversation earlier, didn't we? So you have it like with veterinary practices and stuff now. They don't want to refer unless it's a fear-free or a force-free or a purely positive or whatever trainer, which is just a nonsense, isn't it?
It is a nonsense. And I mean, I've had many conversations with my old vet, and she's like, the behaviourist and the trainer should leave the vetting to the vets, and the vets should leave the behaviour and training to the behaviourists and the trainers. And I think it's true. I think a vet doesn't know sufficient about dog training to be able to say that what the dog needs in relation to change its behaviour.
No, they don't. They don't. And some of the methods and things, I saw a German Shepherd last week, an older German Shepherd, 10-year-old female, for aggression towards dogs. And she'd been to see, there was a rescue dog, so she'd only had it a few weeks. And she'd been to see a behaviourist from the Dogs Trust, and they'd switched from a flat collar to a yellow harness. This is like a 48-kilo German Shepherd bitch on a harness. I mean, the woman can't. She must have been weighed about 8 stone. But I mean, the advice that they've given not only has not helped, but it's made it worse. And what she's supposed to be doing when the dog goes berserk at a dog on the street, and again, she's in London, she can't creep around empty fields. When the dog goes berserk at another dog in the street, she's got to turn in circles. She's got to turn a German Shepherd, 48 kilos, on a harness in circle. Well, that ain't happening, is it? It doesn't take a genius to work out. She can't turn it in a circle. She's got to clip halfway down its back, and all she can do really is stand her ground and hope for the best that she doesn't get pulled over.
Bigger heels then.
Yeah, and turn in circles. I mean, how ridiculous. We could just on the pavement.
Again, because I really want to talk to you about how training, like the behaviour problems and the training problems that we're encountering now, how it's changed, and then also the different types of issues that we come across a lot. But I don't think it's going to be for this one, because I've been asking you too many questions about other things, so we'll do that next time. But what do you think is swaying the vets? What do you think is swaying all of this? I know this is like a really philosophical discussion. I'm really sorry, but it's something that I'm really interested in, you know.
I think
who is swaying this? Is it like the dog's trust? Is it, do you know what I mean? Is it
I
like
think there are those, I mean,
is it
the Dogs Trust, the Kennel Club, the RSPCA, those organisations, they're always looking for this positive stuff, aren't they? And I think it's an easy sell. So if I said to you, would you want to train your dog positively, or do you want to train it using something aversive? Yeah, obviously people are like, well, I'd like to do it positively. Obviously, I love my dog. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't translate. So I think it's an easy sell. You want to go and see a positive dog trainer. Okay, obviously. And I think people just get swayed just to follow the crowd, really, isn't it? It sounds good. And what looks good or sounds good in theory doesn't relate to practice. And that's where it stops.
Because it's got to be, I mean, it's so narrow-minded to think that you can change a predator's response only by positive actions. Do you know what I mean? Because if a dog's really enjoying doing something, and it's the same with humans as well, if we really enjoy doing something, we're going to do it again. And every time we do it, we're reinforcing the neural pathway in our brain. And the only way to stop that neural pathway being used is to stop that neural pathway being used. So you have to put like a no entry sign there to say, I don't want you to do that anymore. I want you to do this instead. But if the drive to do it is outweighing what you're wanting them to do, they're not going to stop. You have to put something in that makes them go, okay, actually, I'm not going to do that again. What would you like me to do instead?
Yeah. Well, I was looking, I've got a little film that a client sent me of a resource guarding Cavapoo. And it's resource guarding a book that's on the floor, a paperback book. Next to it, there's a chew on the floor. I think it might be a pig's ear or something. There's some stuff on the floor, but the dog's resource guarding this book.
Yeah. And
people say to you, use something higher value. You can't get higher value. The dog's resource guarding a book. There's loads of stuff that we deem higher value, but in that moment, the dog is guarding the book. That's what it wants.
Die for it.
Yeah, and because if you're faffing about trying to dip your hands in and get the book away, you're creating it even more higher value. So in that moment, you can't give it anything higher value. The book is the highest value thing there is. So where do you go with that? Do you know what I mean? It's just, you can't do it. It's just nonsense. It sounds good, doesn't it?
In theory, most things sound good, but you know, the way the brain works is we will always move away from the negative towards the positive. And you need both. You need both. You know, don't do that, do this instead, rather than do this instead. As you say, do this instead. Here, little Cavapoo, have a bit of chicken. Well, actually, I don't want a bit of chicken. I want this.
Yeah, I want the book. Yeah. No, it's madness. But I think that another sort of, I suppose, fly in the ointment with the balanced training terminology is that a lot of the American trainers use a lot of e-collars and prong collars. That's kind of goes hand in hand with their balanced kind of title, so to speak. So that's not very helpful.
You can't use that, but also they've labelled aversive, rather they've given too many things the title of aversive, from no to prong collar. So saying no to your dog is classed as an aversive now. Whereas I wouldn't class no as an aversive. I wouldn't class a lead correction as an aversive. Do you know what I mean? It's a check. I suppose it is an aversive if you're going through the operant conditioning thing. But to me, the term aversive is just a nonsense term of lumping lots of things from a tiny correction of saying no to your dog right the way through to beating your dog up, and all of those things are under the same label of aversive, and it's ridiculous.
No, it is silly. And I mean, I just liken it really. I mean, raising a dog is not too dissimilar to raising a child, is it?
No, it's not.
You can't just let your kids do whatever. There has to be a consequence. If you say don't do that, don't run across the road, or don't stick your finger in the fire, if they then make a choice when they can understand what you've said, make a choice to do that, that's not cool, because it's dangerous. So you have to apply a consequence so that you ensure that the next time you say don't run in the road, they don't run in the road. And It's just the same with dogs. It's not beating up your kids and beating up your dogs. It's just having a consequence that's understood. Don't do that. Do this, and then we're all good.
Yeah. And then when you do that, then the sun is either going to shine or the sky's going to fall on your head.
Yeah.
It's like, pick one.
And the thing is, overwhelmingly, once you've done, you sort of fought your battle, so to speak, then you have harmony. You're not constantly telling your dogs off, are you? And if you raise your kids properly, you're not constantly telling them off either. It's just you rub along, everything's lovely and positive, and you have a nice, happy relationship most of the time. But everybody knows what the rules are.
Definitely, you set the ground rules and everybody follows them. Yep. And if they don't, there's a consequence. And then, like with children and with a young dog especially as well, there'll be times where they'll push back, the testosterone surges, or going through puberty, and they're turning into young women, or they've got the testosterone surge, and they'll give a little push to see if the boundaries. Well, I'm a bit older now. I've just started school. Do the boundaries still apply? Yes. Okay. Right. I've gone into senior school. Let's push a bit harder. Yeah. No, that's still not acceptable.
Yeah.
And that happens with dogs, isn't it? They go through certain stages, and they'll give a little push, and you just reinforce the boundaries. The dog goes, right, okay, boundaries still there. Let's not push again.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it's relatively, it's relatively simple, isn't it? And relatively common sense, which not everybody gets. But
it's just when you're being given lots of mixed messages that it gets really confusing, which is why I asked all the questions at the beginning.
I just think, I've said to you before, I think, but I see a lot of very sensible people. They've managed, they're successful in business, whatever. They're very sensible. They've managed to raise 3 or 4 kids properly. And yet you go and see them and they say, I didn't think we were allowed to say no to the dog, or I didn't think we could do that. And you're like, you've managed to, get to 50 and what? Why would you believe that when you're told? Why would you think that's the case?
Because they've been told that they're cruel dog owners.
Yeah.
They know.
We can't say no. We have to walk it on a harness. The amount of people, like I've just said to you, but they've got these large breed dogs on a harness.
I know.
And you just think, well, you're asking for trouble. And if it's one of the hideous front affixing harnesses that puts your dog completely out of alignment and causes all sorts of physiological damage, that's even worse. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It is, and you have them on the harness on the back, and that instigates the pull.
Well, I've honestly, and I see people. I go out with people and they've got like 2 or 3 leads, and it's clipped on here and everywhere.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's clipped on the head collar, clipped on the harness. And you think, can you get any more equipment on your dog if you tried?
It's like bondage for dogs.
It is, isn't it? I mean, literally, it must take them half an hour to get ready for a walk. By the time they get the dog dressed, it's time to go home again.
I know.
No,
I know.
It's quite fascinating and quite
Depressing at the same time.
depressing and stressful. It is.
It is.
It really is.
So we were going to talk today about
Not any of that.
none of that. None of that. So how about next time we pick up what we were supposed to talk about, which is but this is kind of put a really nice foundation in for it, really, about the different training issues that we find now compared with years ago, and what the trend is. Because especially because I think the issues we're having now are different to the issues we had pre-lockdown and the issues we had 10 years ago. I think they're quite, but then the breeding has changed.
I think breeding has changed. Yeah, I think breeding has changed, and breeds have changed as well. I mean, we didn't. I mean, how long have we had cockapoos in our life? 15 years, or longer than that?
No, about 15, because before that it was the Labradoodle. The Labradoodle was the hottie, wasn't it?
Mm.
Then people started doing the cockapoos. Probably about 15, maybe. No,
Yeah.
I would say it was very much more than 15.
No, well, we didn't. I mean,
Long enough to have dedicated rescue centres for them.
Wow.
Because you've got your cockapoo rescue now, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, obviously you would, because there's so
Popular.
many numbers, aren't there? And they're actually, a lot of them are not very nice.
No. So, shall we have a little think about that for next time?
Yes, we'll have a little think about that for next time and try not to rant so much, eh?
And I'll try not to ask you so many questions that take off at a tangent. So,
No.
until next time.
See you next time for less ranties.
Short and sweet, huh? Yeah, have a really good fortnight.
Yeah, stay warm.
Oh yes, take it steady.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. It's not just gun dogs and not just guard dogs, but all things canine, as we hope you have discovered. Please like, share and subscribe and help us spread a bit of common sense back into dog ownership. And a review wouldn't go amiss either. Catch up with Les and Ross again in about 14 days for more canine conversations. Until next time, stay well and enjoy your dogs. Any dog-related questions or topics, just drop an email to talk@cfba.uk or message us via facebook.com/Gundogs and Guard Dogs podcast.